had a lot of issues with food and my body, always looking, always I've done a lot of work myself. So I thought I'm going to give it a shot. It sounded different, not the same old, same old. I've done a lot of things and I've done a lot of research in my own personal journey, doing these things and doing it all yourself. It's hard to let myself just truly be with what's going on in my body. So that's what I think I was really attracted to, somebody else who could relate, who had some new tools, who was going to be there with me and hold that space for me while I could just go into the process. So the results I got was a deeper sense of who I am and more levels of myself. So I got connected to more of myself in a way that I didn't have before. The tapping really helped in terms of helping me when I was struggling in it. So that was a good tool. That's what I'm taking away. The process itself of coming in, doing the work, going home, noticing what was coming up for me, noticing I wanted to eat, noticing I wasn't hungry, wanted to eat. When did I want to eat? What was coming up for me? What was going on? It showed up to the session. So I guess for me, it was a place where I could come and do my work and not beat myself up. It was a good time for me to really look at these things. I couldn't just put my head back in the sand. And I had a place to deal with what was coming up and tools to deal with what was coming up and a person to walk with me when things were coming up. So it was good. It was good. There was a subtleness to it. Sometimes it was subtle. Sometimes it was big. Like, wow, that was big. I mean, so I went to some really healing places in that work. So powerful. And the things that came up as a result of that. And then being able to reinforce that with the tapping. I think for me, having physical trauma, the healing has to have a physical quality to it. So for me, I know a lot of people talk therapy is very effective and it can be very powerful. But for me, my trauma was pre-verbal in the body. It's just in there. So it's all about the senses. And so for me, that work of reprogramming and whatever was happening on that, can't even say what was happening, but I know there was work happening because I could feel that and some of the things that came up for me in session work, and then to reinforce it with a tapping that I didn't have to figure it out. I could just tap when I had the body sensation or the feeling, the actual emotion, like I was feeling the anxiety in my gut or my breathing wasn't working, things like that. And so the tapping, I didn't have to figure it out in my brain first. I could just go right to the tapping, which was very effective. I think that physical healing to meet the physical trauma in the body just kind of sidestepped all my resistance. I guess the other piece that I do remember was connecting with the higher self pieces and how impactful that was and how I just felt like I still can see that in my imagery, my imagination. And so it's so comforting, to not be alone. And I have this resource. At the end, I just felt every session, it was just like, I felt so peaceful. And so it was good work. I mean, I just really felt it in my body. And I didn't feel exhausted. I just felt I could really feel the work. And it was pretty good. It was really good, actually. That's what I remember, keep thinking at the end, like, wow, it's really good. I want to say therapeutic. I mean, very therapeutic. And so since that time, I mean, again, it was gradual. My body started to change. So it's been about a year and I have burned off some inches, I've dropped some weight, but the biggest thing is it's taken a year. And so for me, that time has been really healing in that I have shifted behavior. And now I just choose, what is it that I most want? And I can have this another day. And that's been so healing. Like I'm choosing. I'm not being pushed or driven to eat. It's been an interesting journey. Looking back, I think Deanna's work was a great foundational piece for me to really put health on all levels at the forefront so that I could maintain, right? Because that's the thing. We can all do a lifestyle change. We can say, I'm going to eat this way, and I do that. It's because of our emotional issues. We slide back in it. But that's what I think with Deanna's work, it helps me maintain, because I'm not eating to feed an emotion or to push away or to cover up or to fill the hole. I'm eating to take care of my body and to enjoy and maybe to socialize, because food is about social. And that's different than filling the hole. And that's the other thing, is just that subtle piece and how it's seeding, now a year later, the seeds from the work, how the manifestation happens, and just thinking, wow. And just like that, how more imbalanced I am. Wow. I took that in. And then once the work is done, it's like, once there's healing, that's completed. And so the balancing happens, and the body's so beautiful. It just does. It's like, oh yeah, that's done. Okay. And then it's done. That's what's so cool. It's like, once it's completed, the integration happens. I like the subtle layering and releasing and integration. That's lovely too. Love Deanna. She's a great person to walk with. She listens. She has great tools. And she's really there. I mean, she was really there for me. And we really went deep. And she was just there for me the whole time. That was really important. I felt safe. And I think that's important, to feel safe when doing this work. And to be okay with seeing what comes up. And sometimes it seems so silly once it comes out, but when it's inside, it seems really real, right? So just to be with everything that comes up and to not beat yourself up too much or at all. I mean, you're going to beat yourself up a little bit. That's being human. But hopefully you can. Deanna's great at helping you love yourself. This image-driven culture we have is so hard sometimes. It's the bombardment from the outside. And so I am a tall woman, and it's really hard when people say I'm large. I don't like that word. I equate that to being heavy, fat, whatever, and coming to the awareness that I'm larger than most men. So large is an appropriate adjective, and being okay with that. Like, doesn't mean I'm not right. And Deanna really helps to break that down and to just be with those parts of us to help us with the healing. I think that's the first outcome. Without that, I can't go anywhere. I can't get any of the physical stuff or the outward stuff without this inward healing first. I would recommend it, yes. I would recommend it to people who've already had some experience with struggle with weight, because it's not about eating and just losing weight. That's not what it's about. It's about being comfortable with me and giving my body what it needs when it needs it. And I guess the other thing is, it's for someone who's been struggling with this issue for a while, and there is an emotional component that's keeping me tethered, and I may not know what that is. But if you feel that it's always around food, and then there's this love-hate thing, that would be ideal to say, Deanna has a solution that can really get you to start observing yourself and being and loving yourself in a new way. And it's like this, it's the holding, she really does hold you, because it's scary, it can be scary, and that's okay. She's not going to take you anywhere you don't want to go. She's going to hold you right there. So